Subscribe to FutureMoneyTrends.com today to receive our weekly wealth digests, expert interviews, and to read monthly investment and income-producing ideas. FutureMoneyTrends.com, smart money invested in future trends. Greetings and thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here with Brien Lundin. He has a career spanning 3 decades in the investment markets and newsletter business, helping investors find the right investments. He's the CEO and president of Jefferson Financial. Under the Jefferson Financial umbrella, Brien publishes and edits Gold Newsletter, a cornerstone of precious metal advisory since 1971. Wow, and everybody knows that's a key date for gold, 1971. Brien, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to talk with you, Daniel.
Brien, a lot of people who are investing in inflation, or investing because they're concerned about inflation of the economy or supply and demand of resources, have went into the junior resource sector. And over the past few years, it's just been kind of a bloodbath for investors. And I want to find out from you, with you looking at all the sectors and different resources and opportunities, is there anything out there that stands out there that has an extreme value situation where obviously we've got gold down, silver down, uranium down, natural gas, but I mean, is there anything out there that's an extreme where it might be a major opportunity for people right now?
Well, I think when you look at it, you have to consider what's happened to the broader market. And, we had a tremendous bull run this century, really since 2000, in precious metals, and the junior mining stocks really leveraged those gains. And what was happening then was there were a number of factors. There was obviously the rise of the developing countries, rise of China, and the strains that was putting on the broader commodity sector and metals. But you also had a large-scale monetary reflation across the world. Fiat currencies were being produced at greater and greater rates, and debts were being piled up, particularly in the West, at greater and greater rates. And we reached kind of an inflection point actually kind of a stumbling block in 2008 with the credit crisis, but that only exacerbated the long-term trends and made the ongoing creation of fiat currencies even more necessary and more dramatic. Since 2008, what we've seen is that the juniors didn't provide any leverage to the underlying rise in metals prices, and even the majors didn't. And the reason for that is people wanted to buy gold and silver as safe havens, as protection against the monetary inflation. And the general economic environment, the general investing environment, was very risk-averse. Nobody wanted paper. They wanted the real thing, which was gold and silver. So the equities were actually just cratered due to lack of demand and lack of any buying pressure. In the current environment, I think we're at another crucial turning point. We've had about a 2-year correction in precious metals, and we've seen the gold and silver come off late June bottoms as the supply situation has grown extremely tight, almost to unprecedented levels. And the junior equities have started to respond to that. I do think the future for precious metals related junior resource stocks is very positive going forward. With that said, though, there's going to be a lot of volatility. So if investors can look for markets where there are long-term trends or special situations that create near-term opportunities, I think those are particularly attractive these days. One of those areas that I've seen is in uranium.
I've seen a lot of people talk about uranium over the years. Rick Rule and people like Maren Katusa and David Morgan, and yourself, and it's like kind of like uranium has just been beaten down. Everyone kind of thought the worst was over, at least in my opinion. I kind of thought it was, and then now it's below 50. Now we're below 40. Is 2014 going to be the year for uranium to recover since the Fukushima accident, and then? Is this even sustainable? I mean, are companies going to start shutting down mines at these prices?
Well, I think 2014 will be the year for a number of reasons. The price of uranium, when you had that first stage of uranium mania, in the junior resource market. I guess it was about 5 years ago now. Really closer to 6 years ago. In 2007, it reached $140 a pound, and in any company that had any relation to uranium was trading, for the juniors were trading for dollars a share, regardless of what they had, if they in whatever moose pasture or prospects they had. So there was a tremendous shakeout in that area. And then we started, the 2008 credit crisis just devastated the sector and uranium prices as well, and nobody wanted those equities. Subsequent to that, we started to have a rebound in uranium prices. Then the Fukushima disaster put an end to that. Right now, we're just coming out of that Fukushima spawned correction in the uranium market. Japan itself is with the new government in place there, is actively seeking to restart their mothballed reactors. They realize that the nation is completely dependent upon uranium or nuclear energy for lower energy prices. But what the critical factor that we're facing right now is the expiration of the highly enriched uranium agreement with Russia, where the Russian atomic weapons were repurposed and the uranium recovered and brought into or de-enriched into making them nuclear fuel. That contributes about 15% of global nuclear fuel, and that agreement with Russia is expiring at the end of this year. The long story, or the bottom line to this, is that the immediate removal at the end of this year of those supplies will actually throw the uranium market into a supply deficit. So we have two factors there. We have growing demand as China restarts its reactors, and just as importantly, more importantly, China really focuses on growing its nuclear energy resources. And then we have a dramatic and immediate drop in supplies. So I don't know precisely when, but I know that these factors will have a pronounced effect on uranium prices at some point in the near future.
One of the companies we follow closely in the uranium sector is Uranium Energy Corp, UEC. I followed it for several years now. I've become to have a good relationship with Amir Adnani and admire him greatly. What are your thoughts on UEC? Because I know there aren't that many producers. Isn't there only like 11? So I mean, it's not like if you're going to pick a uranium producer, there are 100 of them or thousands of them, like oil companies. With uranium companies, there's only 11 or 12. What are your thoughts on UEC?
Well, that harkens back to that great shakeout in the uranium market that I mentioned since 2007. So many of those juniors just went away. They were either they faded away or changed their business plans into other metals, whatever the hot story of the day was. But a precious few of them just kept working away, and some by sheer force of will, UEC among them, because if anything, Amir sure has a lot of force of will. He's just an incredible manager and just absolutely relentless. And while everyone was looking away and ignoring the junior uranium market, a few of these companies actually went to production, to the brink of production and into production. And UEC is one of those ones that actually got into production and at a profitable level. I mean, its cost of production is only about $21 per pound, so it's still profitable, even at these depressed uranium prices right now. And it's got a tremendous growth curve as it brings its first mine and the first few production areas of that first mine on stream. So it is immediately and very positively positioned for the upcoming rise in uranium prices that I see.
Brien, what can people expect at the Investors Conference, your New Orleans Investment Conference?
Well, it's the granddaddy of investment events, and kind of like Gold Newsletter was the first real precious metals advisory out there. The New Orleans Conference was the first gold-oriented conference out there. It started in 1974 by my mentor and the founder of our company, James Hugh Blanchard III. And it was really founded to teach investors how to buy gold and invest in gold when gold was legalized in 1974. And through those years, it's featured or had an underlying theme of free markets and personal liberty and sound money. And it's just perfectly positioned for the situation we find ourselves in today. This year's conference is being held from November 10th to 13th, and we've got just an all-star cast coming. We've got Dr. Ron Paul delivering a keynote presentation and serving on a panel. We have Dr. Charles Krauthammer again on a couple of panels and delivering another one of his dramatic presentations. We've got Peter Schiff. We've got Dr. Martin Weiss. We've got Dennis Gartman. We've got Dr. Benjamin Carson, who I think has a good chance of being the next Republican candidate for president in the next cycle. We've got Rick Rule and really every one of the, or most of the major precious metals and resource stock analysts out there coming. So it's really a one-stop shop for investors seeking the best ways to capitalize on the geopolitical, economic, and investing environment we find ourselves in today.
It sounds like a great time. I am going to do everything I can to convince my wife to let me go.
You've got to make it down. It's like nothing else out there. Everybody has a wonderful time in New Orleans. The food, the music, the companionship. It's not a free conference like you see a lot of these conferences. It's not expensive, but there is a paid admittance, and because of that, attendees don't get commercial presentations from the main stage. It's an intellectual bazaar of information and strategies. Many, if not most, of our speakers save their best of the year just to put out on our stage. It's kind of a tradition. These come away really with an experience that they'll find nowhere else.
Well, Brien, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you talking about the precious metals and uranium. Just for fun, if you had to buy one uranium junior mining companies or gold junior mining companies, because I know you're bullish on both, if you had to only pick one, which one would you pick?
Well, that's a tough one because there are so many bargains out there right now. I do think UEC is one of the best positioned uranium juniors out there because it is in production. It will immediately see the benefits of higher uranium prices.
Well, Brien, thank you so much. And for investors who are looking to go to the New Orleans Investment Conference or subscribe to your newsletter, where should they go?
They should go to simply neworleansconference.com, and they can find all of the information.
Thanks, Brien. You have a great day.
Thank you.